Charlotte Lottie Hayes, 43, stood in her sleek Austin kitchen, her fingers tracing the edge of a vinyl record she hadn't played in years. Her warm brown eyes, framed by laugh lines, hid a flicker of pain as she arranged a charcuterie board for her husband, Derek, a tech entrepreneur whose charm had once swept her off her feet. At 36, he was younger, sharper, always chasing the next big deal. Tonight he was late, again. Lottie, a music teacher with a voice that could hush a room, had planned a quiet anniversary dinner, complete with their old favorite album, Harvest Moon. As she set the table, her phone buzzed with a notification. A text from Derek, meant for someone else. Lottie's voice is like a bad cover song, grating and forgettable. Meet me at the Driscoll, 9 p.m. Her heart stopped. She read it again, the words slicing through a decade of marriage. She didn't cry. She didn't call him. Instead, she packed a suitcase, her vinyl collection, and a USB drive with a playlist she'd made at 20, when life felt infinite. By dawn, she was gone. Lottie drove through Austin's neon-lit streets, her SUV humming past food trucks and murals, until she reached a co-op house in East Austin she'd found on Craigslist. The ad promised creative weirdos welcome, and at 43, with her curvy figure and a heart full of songs, she felt like the weirdest of them all. The house was a colorful mess, mismatched furniture, fairy lights, and a backyard stage for impromptu gigs. Her new housemates, a mix of artists and dreamers, welcomed her with open arms. Among them was Ezra Klein, a 45-year-old sound engineer with salt and pepper hair, a lopsided grin, and eyes that seemed to carry stories he hadn't told. Lottie didn't know it yet, but that playlist, and Ezra, would change everything. The co-op was a world away from Derek's sterile penthouse. Lottie's room smelled of cedar and paint, with a creaky twin bed and a window overlooking a pecan tree. She spent her first week teaching music at a local middle school, her students' off-key renditions of pop songs a balm for her bruised heart. At night, she'd sit in the backyard, spinning records on a portable player, her playlist of 90s indie rock and soulful ballads filling the air. Ezra, who worked late at a recording studio, would join her, offering a cold Shinerbach and a quip about her vintage vibes. "You're like a walking mixtape," he teased, his voice warm. Lottie laughed, her first real laugh in weeks, and felt a spark she hadn't known since her 20s. Their late-night talks grew longer, moving from music to life. Ezra shared snippets of his past, a failed marriage, a daughter he rarely saw, a career sidelined by bad choices. Lottie, guarded at first, admitted she'd left a marriage that felt like a cage. "He didn't just break my heart," she said one night, staring at the stars. "He made me feel like my voice didn't matter." Ezra looked at her, his gaze steady. "Your voice is the best thing I've heard in years." Her cheeks warmed, and she changed the subject. But the words lingered. Lottie threw herself into the co-op's community, organizing open mic nights that drew crowds from the neighborhood. She sang for the first time in years, her alto voice rich and raw, earning cheers that drowned out Derek's cruel words. Ezra ran the soundboard, tweaking levels with a reverence that made her feel seen. Their chemistry was undeniable, shared glances, accidental touches, a duet of wicked game that left the room breathless. But Lottie hesitated. She'd trusted too easily before, and the sting of betrayal still burned. One evening, a new housemate, Tara, a 30-something painter, recognized Lottie from a tech gala photo online. "You're Derek Hayes' wife, right? The one who vanished?" Lottie froze, her cover as just a music teacher crumbling. Tara, sensing her discomfort, promised to keep quiet, but the incident rattled Lottie. She confided in Ezra, expecting judgment, but he just listened. "You're not running from him," he said. "You're running toward yourself." His words unlocked something in her, and that night under the pecan tree they kissed, a slow, electric moment that felt like a song coming to life. As Lottie and Ezra's romance deepened, so did her confidence. She started writing original songs, pouring her heartbreak and hope into lyrics. Ezra offered to produce a demo, and they spent hours in his studio, laughing over botched takes and sharing takeout tacos. But the past wasn't done with her. One morning, while sorting vinyls, Lottie found an old demo tape labeled Ezra and Derek, 2008. Her stomach dropped. She confronted Ezra, who admitted he'd known Derek years ago. They'd worked on a failed music app together. "He was a jerk then, too," Ezra said, his jaw tight. "I didn't tell you because I didn't want him to ruin this." Lottie felt betrayed, her trust shaken. "You should have told me," she snapped, storming out. That same week, Derek showed up at the co-op, his polished exterior fraying. He'd tracked her through a mutual friend's Instagram post. "Come home, Lottie," he pleaded, his voice dripping with false sincerity. "I made a mistake. We can fix this." She saw through him, the same hunter's gaze, calculating his next move. "You didn't love me," she said, her voice steady. "You loved what I could do for you." She walked away, but Derek's parting shot hit hard. "You think Ezra's different? He's using you too. He's broke, Lottie. He needs your connections." Doubt gnawed at her. Was Ezra's kindness a ploy? She dug into his past, finding an old article about his financial troubles after a bad investment with Derek. The pieces clicked. Ezra's silence wasn't just guilt. It was shame. That night, at an open mic, Lottie took the stage, her hands trembling. She sang a new song, Silent Tracks, about betrayal and reclaiming her voice. The crowd was silent, then erupted. Ezra in the back met her eyes, his face raw with emotion. After the set, he pulled her aside. "I should have told you about Derek. I was ashamed of who I was back then. But I'm not him, Lottie. I love you for you." Lottie took a week to process, retreating to her playlist and the pecan tree. She realized Ezra's omission wasn't deception, but a fear of losing her, a fear she knew too well. She forgave him, not because she needed him, but because she chose him. They rebuilt trust slowly, recording her demo together, a love letter to resilience. Derek, meanwhile, faced a public scandal when his mistress leaked more texts, exposing his affairs. His startup tanked, and he faded from Austin's scene. Lottie's demo caught the ear of a local label, and she signed a small deal, not for fame, but for herself. The co-op threw a release party, the backyard glowing with lights and music. Ezra proposed during her set, not with a ring, but with a vinyl of their duet, etched with our song. She said yes, laughing through tears, her voice soaring. "Your worth isn't defined by someone else's opinion. It's in the courage to sing your own song." Lottie learned that love, real love, doesn't silence you. It amplifies your voice. By embracing her imperfections and her past, she found a life that was hers, not someone else's version of it. Lottie stood on the backyard stage, her guitar slung low, the crowd a blur of familiar faces. At 43, she was no longer the woman who'd hidden her pain behind a charcuterie board. She was Charlotte Hayes, singer, survivor, and a damn good music teacher. Ezra adjusted the mic, his grin a quiet promise. As she strummed the first chord, she felt the weight of her playlist, the songs that had carried her from a broken marriage to this moment. "This one's for anyone who's ever felt unheard," she said, her voice clear and strong. And then she sang,